Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome. Lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. We are back with our live cooking lessons from Italy with Livia. And we've also got our regular Monday giveaway. We've got our excellent cookbook to give away later as well. I think as we're going into spring, we are starting to look at some easy, really simple recipes. So Livia is going to be cooking up something very easy that you can just make when you're looking for some new ideas for cooking. So let's go to Livia and see what she's got for us. Good morning, Livia.
Hello. Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, good. Really good, actually. Yes.
Very well. So today I feel very well because I think it's like spring coming here. It's very warm. There are lots of flowers in bloom. So it's really make you feel better when there's a lot of flowers and, getting in bloom and spring is coming. So it's really good, positive.
And today's International Women's Day, so it's good that us girls are cooking. I'm not cooking, you're cooking, but we're here today as well for International Women's Day. Which is
exactly. That's why today everything should be yellow or with flowers. That's why I decided to add some flowers to the picture where I'm cooking, because I think they make a big difference. Yeah, it's a big holiday, a big festive day in Italy. I don't know if in UK is exactly the same, but in Italy, really, women do a big celebration, go out together, I don't know, and everything is yellow, really. Every dessert is yellow, like every pasta that you cook should be yellow. Every time you cook on this day for some events, everything has to be yellow because of mimosa. Do you sell mimosa in UK?
I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure. I was thinking, actually, that we're having to cook. I was thinking because it's our day, actually, the men should cook for us today. Maybe that should be the other way around.
Very good, yeah. That's a good idea, actually.
Okay. Yeah, it's a really good idea.
So now we're starting to do spring recipes, Lorna. So from now we're going to do spring recipes, I think, now from now ever. Okay, so today the recipe is salsa verde. It's very typical from different regions of Italy. So originally comes from Piedmont, let's say. It's served usually with boiled meat, that I will tell you about. Then it's also typical in my region, especially in Reggio Emilia, Modena area. That's because they serve boiled meat and they make a good broth all the time because they needed to eat good tortellini. Okay, and to use the meat, to eat the meat better that you've boiled to make a good broth, you should serve it with a good salsa verde, so green sauce, let's say. So, and then it's also made in different regions, like, for example, in Tuscany. Maybe some of you had it when we went to the food market near the center. If you have a panino with lampredotto, which is an offal typical from Florence, it's served with salsa verde. Okay, so salsa verde is usually served with, let's say, meat that is not very delicate, with not very delicate flavor, and some meat that should be covered. You can also, for example, make, if you have some chicken left, for example, and you want to serve it the next day, you should warm it and spread it all over with salsa verde. It will get much better flavor.
I saw a really nice recipe with it was a panino with some mozzarella, and they put a salsa verde over it as well for sandwiches. It looks really delicious. And could you use it for pasta as well? Just use it as a pasta sauce.
Maybe? See, you can have it also with spaghetti, but there is no cheese, so you can also warm it. Very typically, it can be served with boiled potatoes, for example, or you can be served in a boiled egg. You're going to see that we are going to use the red yolk from the boiled egg, and we can serve the white part of the egg with salsa verde on top, or you can even just serve it with a slice of bread, like if it was a crostino or something like that. So there are many ways to use it. The most typical way to use it is to serve it with meat that has been boiling for a long time and it's quite tender at the end, typically with the meat that you would use to make a good broth product. Okay, and now I'll show you the ingredients, right? So then I can start.
Just a quick few hellos, Olivia, just a quick few hellos. We've got just a good morning.
Okay.
Yes, you've got. So Val, good morning, Val. Good morning, Caroline, Minette, Dilith, Julia. Gosh, we've got all our meaties on this morning. Julia.
They're always there.
Yeah, really
Yeah,
nice.
it gives me a lot of energy to see that they always there and everything is going on very well. I think it's going, we're stepping out of all of these problems, and let's hope to be able to come here, because I would like to see you from live.
Yes,
Can I say from live? Yeah, more than on a computer. Comunque,
Good.
I'll show you the ingredients, and then so a boiled egg. Okay, that I've just boiled from cold water.
Kieran's on the chat as always, and we've got the recipe actually. It's on the blog, so Kieran will put the link on Facebook.
Perfect.
For it as well.
Yeah, perfect. Anchovies, capers, usually capers that have been salted capers that we rinse by the salt, keeping them in the water. Some garlic, everyone like a lot. Some white bread without the crust that has been soaking into wine vinegar, and parsley, obviously, and a lot of parsley. Okay.
Livia, the bread, I missed that. Did you say that was breadcrumbs soaked in vinegar?
That's the white part of the bread, so it's not the crust. Without the crust, so it's just it's not breadcrumbs. But how do you call this bit of bread? The white.
It's just.
Non so come si dice. We call it mollica in Italiano. I don't know in English, but it's just the white part, the inside of the bread. You can even use toast bread. Yeah, like I'll show you a slice. And just use the white. You should easier use the old bread that gets hard, that can be soaked into vinegar to give a bit of acidity to this recipe. Okay, so just old bread, but not the crust of it. Otherwise, like this, like toasted bread.
And you soak it in the vinegar. Was that just like white wine vinegar? You soak it in for like.
Yes, I've soaked it into white wine vinegar. Yeah, in this case, yeah. And that will give acidity to our dough. And obviously, the more important ingredient of this recipe is parsley. I've already diced some. The way to use parsley is just the leaves and not the stalks, okay? Because that will make a big difference. It will make it tough to your tongue, let's say, when you eat it. Okay, so just the parsley that you dice very small. You can make these recipes in two ways, Lorna. You can either use a blender, okay, and that's very fast. But since we have time to do it here by hand, I'm going to dice the ingredients with a knife. But you can use a blender. Just make sure that while you use it, you don't keep blending it so that the blade would warm up too much. But stop blending sometimes so that you would not really bruise the parsley while you use a hot stainless steel material in contact with parsley while you blend it. Okay, so I'm going to start, but can you, do you think that in your book, there's maybe salsa verde recipe? No, what is it? What's the name of the book you were talking about?
This one's called Bacon the Cookbook. And it's
okay, so it's not Italian cooking.
No, it's a bit of a deviation. There's a story actually, so the author, Neve, actually, she's a food blogger. And I thought, well, it's all about girls today. It's International Women's Day, so let's give away a cookbook for another girl. And she has a really lovely food blog called Eat Like a Girl. And she came on one of our Venice cooking holidays, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. In fact, I was looking at pictures this morning. She was at Malibran and she did it one of our Venice holidays. And a very successful food blogger. And I think this is our first cookbook and it's all about bacon. So there's some really interesting recipes actually. I had a quick look. So things like candied bacon flapjacks, unusual. And bacon and salted caramel popcorn. So every single recipe's got bacon in it. And it's actually a signed copy from Neve as well. So really nice. And so anyone likes to win the cookbook, just pop cookbook in the comments. And as always, Kieran picks the winner at the end of the live. So yeah, nice book actually. Really good.
I think that bacon can be maybe let's say cover every flavor and maybe learn how to use it in many different ways. It could be useful. So I think that could be a very interesting book, I think. Never thought about buying it, but maybe. Vabbè, allora, I'm going to start. So first I'm going to dice garlic and anchovies and capers together. Okay, all in one. As soon as they are like a paste, let's say, they are ready to be mixed to the other ingredients and mainly to the parsley. And then we are going to sieve the boiled yolk of the egg to make sure it became it will get a creamy consistency, and just at the end, we're going to add a lot of oil. So this salsa verde is something you could do ahead, let's say, and keep it in the fridge in a jar for even a month, and use it anytime you like, serving it, as we were saying, on fish, for example, which is something that we do very often here, or on boiled meat, as the traditional way to serve it. So you can always have some there and serve it to, let's say, reuse a meat that you've been cooking the day before and you want to warm up and cook it in different ways the day after. So that could be a good idea. I'm going to start dicing over there, Lorna. And
I'll come to follow you. We'll follow you. I love your flowers and your label. It looks great.
Yeah, I saw that today we really need flowers, you know, like here. Well, we're not very, very free to go out here in Italy yet, but you see, I think it would be very useful to color, can I say color up my day? Color my day, brighten up my day using a bit of color by the flowers, and yellow is the color. And now we get a lot of daffodils in bloom, and I got a lot in my terrace because I like to steal bulbs when I come also to UK, for example, and take them back home. So I got a lot of bulbs that now they are getting in bloom. Even snowdrops. You know that here we don't have snowdrops very often.
Yes, so that's right. Yeah, no, we've got loads. It's really lovely just now, actually, around Edinburgh when we're out walking. I managed to do 20,000 steps yesterday, and I saw lots of snowdrops and daffodils. It was lovely, really nice in the sunshine. It's good, really good.
Yeah. What are they saying? What are our friends saying? Our followers, Lorna? What are they? Have they ever cooked salsa verde?
No,
are they commenting on salsa verde? No, nobody's saying.
No, I think they're all getting excited about the cookbook, and actually, I wonder. Actually, tell us what is everyone cooking today? Actually, we're always giving everyone ideas and inspiration for what to cook, but it'd be interesting if our viewers could tell us what they're cooking and inspire us. See what's for lunch or for dinner. See if we get some comments back.
Allora, for lunch, I can already say they're not going to cook anything because you know, that's my complaint about. You remember, Lorna, when I was coming there in Edinburgh, and at lunch we were having, a sandwich that for you is normal. For us, is always, we have to sit at the table and have a pasta and to consider that a lunch. No, but it's good because then you have an earlier dinner, which is good because it helps you to digest better, and you can spend all day preparing dinner and planning for your dinner, which is actually what they are doing when we run the lessons. The lessons that I've done yesterday, for example, some of them were saying, I'm cooking this for tonight, which is good. So you can.
You doing Sunday lunch yesterday?
Yes, yesterday we made the vegetarian one. So you see, it's not very difficult to make a vegetarian recipe in Italy. We have something which is called Crespelle, which was brought in Italy from Caterina dei Medici, so from the Medici family in Tuscany, and because she was in contact with the French cuisine. So they remind you of crepes, French crepes. So that's what we prepared yesterday, with the stuff with asparagus.
And did you do that really nice white chocolate mousse?
Yes, we done the white chocolate mousse, which is very simple. It's just to do a fast dessert. Also, they're very tasty. Very sweet without using any sugar at all. Can you imagine? So you see, now I think it's done. I'm just going to kind of squeeze it a little bit here towards the board, so that I use the knife to make sure that it's like a pâté. To squeeze it. So these are anchovies, capers, and garlic.
Nice. Okay. Perfect. We've got some messages. So, Val, that sounds delicious. Val was making venison steak for lunch yesterday with shallot, red wine sauce, and sweet potatoes and peas. That sounds really yummy. Oh, great! Anne made the your fennel recipe last week. That's really good. That's lovely. Yeah, and
venison is something that we never cook here, so it's something I'm curious about because I can see you are finding it easy, and instead here we don't cook it very often. So these are capers, anchovies, let's say like if it was a pâté, and I'm going to leave it here on the side, and now I'm going to add to this mixture the bread that has been soaking enough in
And
wine vinegar.
I've looked at a couple of salsa verde recipes, and do they all have the bread, or is that just your variation of the recipe?
Allora, there are different regions make it different. This is more typical from the north, so from Piedmont, and we always consider them. Piedmont is the one that had the real traditional recipe. For example, in Reggio Emilia, so let's say in Emilia Romagna, where they really make stock, good broth every day, let's say, so they serve this green sauce with the broth. They use celery, carrot, and onion as a base, and they don't use the bread soaked into vinegar, but they just use some lemon juice. That's why in the recipe that you will find in the blog, there's lemon juice in the recipe, because that will make it, will give it the acidity that we are looking for. We need some acidity for this sauce to eat fish or meat, as we were saying. So that's an important ingredient and flavor in this sauce. So either you obtain it using adding some lemon, otherwise vinegar and bread, that will give a slightly different consistency, as you can see, to this mixture, because it will make it soft and creamy, because this is just not the crust, but it's just the white bit of the bread.
Yeah.
Okay, as you can see, it's all meshed.
Yeah, I really like cooking with capers. I love the flavour. It's really, with like tomato sauce for pasta, it's really lovely. Really enjoyed it.
Capers will give a lot of flavor to this sauce, because they are preserved with salt, so they are prepared really. They come out keeping them. They are ready when they stay with salt for a long time. Salt kind of cook them, let's say. So that's why capers are giving a lot of flavor to this sauce, because it's already
and there's a really
enough.
Nice, you know, the island of Sicily, Pantelleria, they've got really lovely capers. They're really famous for it. I remember once getting capers from there. And they were really,
I know, Lorna, we should do flavors in Pantelleria. You know, that's that would be something I would love to do.
Yeah. I think Giorgio Armani lives there. I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure quite sure if his budget reaches there. Yeah. So
there are nice places called Damuso, which are, let's say, stone houses that are really beautiful along the sea, and they have a lot of thermal bath and natural, you know, hot water springs. So it's really beautiful. I'm going to add to this mixture, which is bread, capers, anchovies, and garlic, I'm going to add a lot of parsley. So parsley is the king of this recipe, so it should be a lot of parsley. Okay.
It also gives it the colour, because obviously salsa verde, you know, verde is green, so sort of green sauce. Part of the,
this is why parsley is very important.
We've got a couple more sharing of what's cooking at the moment. So hi from Gay, and Gay's going Italian tonight. She's got lasagna. That sounds great. Minette's
lasagna, bravissima.
And Minette's got chicken escalopes and parmesan, and panko crust with new potatoes and grilled asparagus for dinner. That sounds amazing.
Well, Minette always have good idea. That's why I was wondering if Minette has ever done this recipe, because, you know, she experienced a lot of recipe. I can see also in her pictures all the time.
And Val was saying she's frozen some of your ragu sauce recipe, and she's going to have that for dinner tonight.
Very good. Yeah. I'm glad she's still having some. You know, I still have some. I kept it in the freezer, and I take it out. Maybe now that there's, you know, less chances to go to supermarket, so I can use what I've done earlier. Okay, so this is the boiled egg. I'm going to cut it in half. Okay. And I'm going to use just the yolk of the boiled egg, and I'm going to sieve it. I say I need a sieve to make it creamy. A sieve is an instrument which is very important when you want to obtain a creamy consistency. So you have to, let's say, make it go through the small holes, and that will make it creamy. This is also the way I think some of our guests have learned how to make the stuffing for cannoli in Sicily. When they do, for example, a ricotta stuffing, they sieve the ricotta through a sieve, and that will make it creamy. So every time you want to get a creamy consistency, just use a sieve with any cheese, and that will make it creamy enough.
And could you, if you were doing it in a blender, Livia, how would that work then?
Well, if you're doing in a blender, you should put the light ingredients under and the heavy one on top, so that the blade will be helped by this the situation, yeah, and so you can blend the leaves easier. So the trouble is to risk to bruise the parsley. So the color of the parsley is more green when it's done by hand, because it can get dark when you do it with a blender. You can do it with a blender. Actually, we have done this recipe, Lorna, when we done bollito misto for Christmas, and so that's part of, is really an important sauce that we usually use to serve a boiled meat, as I was saying. So, I'm going to add quite a lot of oil. The oil is used to preserve it, okay, so to keep it for longer and to make it creamy again, give it the right consistency. So you see the bread have disappeared, and now what we can see mainly it's really the green color. So if you want to make it last a long time, you just keep it in a jar covered with oil, and you can always have it ready to, for example, with fish, it's really good. You can even add, I don't know, let's say mayonnaise. If you want to mix it to mayonnaise, you can serve it with fish. But these days, all these ingredients are ingredients that last a long time, because capers were preserved with salt, anchovies were cured and kept in oil. So are not ingredients that will go rotten. So, okay, so now we can serve it, for example, on half egg.
That's
the
nice
white
idea.
of the egg, for example, something like this. This is, now it's actually Easter is coming. And, you know, we are doing a lot of recipes with eggs here. So we stuff eggs in many different ways. And I think I'm going to do a special one during the aperitivo, for aperitivo lessons.
That looks really pretty, actually.
Yeah. And now I'm going to show you also how to serve it on the bread, but you know it already. So this is Tuscan bread. You know, my region is near Tuscany. So
you're allowed to borrow a Tuscan recipe.
Sorry? What?
You said you're allowed to borrow a Tuscan recipe from Emilia Romagna.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and we can find the Tuscan bread here. We are allowed because we are on the border. So that's why we have also some Tuscan bread usually. So if you warm the bread and make it crunchy with some oil, sprinkle, spread some garlic on it, and then use salsa verde on top, is really great.
That looks lovely. That looks really delicious. And quick and easy, that's great, which is really good.
Yeah, very, very easy. And if I have to preserve it and keep it with oil, in a jar, I would add more oil. And then another really important thing is that if you have a blender, if you want to do it with a blender, obviously you can. If you have a blender, which is an immersion blender, then the engine is far away and the blade doesn't warm up too much. This is an immersion blender that the engine up here. If you have another mixer, the blade can warm up a lot. So try to maybe cool down the blade here before using it, so that you don't bruise the parsley and you keep the strong green color. Okay, I'm coming over there.
Yeah, it's really quick for you. By hand, that was really quick to make that sauce. So actually, I'm not really sure. You're there.
Yes.
I'm not sure actually there's any benefit in actually getting a blender all dirty when you can just make it by hand. Really quickly.
Yeah, it doesn't take a long time. Obviously, dicing the parsley quite thin, it obviously makes it mix better. So that's an important step. Doesn't take a long time. So I think it's nice. Also, if you want it more creamy, you should blend it. You can even blend it now if you want to make it more creamy, but I don't like, especially when I want to keep it for longer, I don't like to make it too creamy and too soft, because really the blender break it a little bit, ruin it a lot. E comunque, when you serve it with the meat, what I wanted to explain about the boiled meat. So in Piedmont, there are 9 cuts of different cuts of meat that are used to make the right broth, the right stock. And there are cuts of things like the tongue, for example, which are quite strange to use them. So for that reason, I mean, they're quite a strange flavor and strange texture. The same as the offal that is usually consumed in Florence, in the city center. To have lampredotto, you have to have the green sauce because it will help it go down better, let's say, because they are offals and they have a strange texture, let's say. So green sauce is usually used combined with these cuts of meat, really, traditionally.
No, perfect. No, sounds great. That was lovely. And I think we were chatting earlier, and we're going to keep this kind of like simple, easy sort of spring recipes. And we're going to do lemon pesto next week. Was that what we agreed?
Yes, that's what I was thinking, because it's, you know, lemons, they are in season, the winter lemons are coming now. And I've seen something on TV about Sorrento lemons. So I'm hoping to find some in the next days so I can show you the real lemon pesto, even if I've learned how to make mine in Procida, which is a little island near Capri, let's say. So there they have really proper lemons, but we can find easy here lemons that come from there. So
we can use the lemons and some sunshine. And just a quick last shout for the cookbook. Let us know. But yeah, otherwise, and Kieran's going to you'll pick the winner at the end. And what was I going to say? We were doing some filming with Kieran on Saturday. We were filming some cocktails, so watch out. Kieran was making cocktails. We're going to pop it up on.
For real? Wow, che bello! Yeah, I didn't know it.
Yeah, we took to drink on Saturday afternoon and made cocktails.
That's good.
Filmed it. So
that's good. Because spring is coming, we need to be cheerful.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, that was great. No, that's super. So listen, it's lovely. Everyone's nice to see everybody. And Val, you've won the cookbook. I'll get that off in the post to you tomorrow. That's great. And yeah, great. Thank you so much. Nice to see you, Livia. Lovely to see everybody.
Thank you.
We'll catch up next week.
So we'll see you next week.
Yeah, good.
Have a good Monday.
Yeah, exactly. Take care. Bye-bye now.